Hi everyone. Today I want to introduce tools to start woodworking. This video is for a beginner who isn't sure if the woodworking can really become a hobby based on my experience, so it's value oriented. Oh, and I know many people would skip the middle section, so let me tell you the most important thing first. The tools I will recommend here are not a must-have. You can always start a project with what you already have, and if you fail, you should check how others do online and think why you cannot do it. Then, on an as-needed basis, you may get or upgrade tools for your own needs. In this way, you learn more about the tools and you know what exactly you are asking for from the tools you are getting. Okay, now let's start. First, it's all about saws. I think a saw is the most important thing to have, and the saw is the thing I bought the most numbers of after I started woodworking last year. Let me tell you, as far as it's about building something for yourself, not for a large quantity, hand saws are good enough, or even a better choice than power tools. It can cut wood easier than you think. Okay, then what type of saw should you get? Chisel I 265mm. This is the saw I was most amazed, and it's only about $30. This saw can handle both crosscuts and rip cuts. For the crosscut, it's amazing, but it doesn't really do well on rip cuts. Don't get me wrong, this is good enough for short rip cuts, but for the long piece, it just takes time. So I recommend you to get an additional rip cut saw blade, the Saw Rip Fine H250. If you don't mind the price, you can get the saw by itself, but if your budget is limited, you can get only a blade like me for half the price. They can share the handle. You can use these saws to roughly cut wood in the lengths you need, and also their cuff width is relatively thin, so depending on the project, it's not impossible to cut out joints with them too. Then I recommend my beloved flash trim saw. It's only about $15 and looks plasticky cheap, but don't underestimate it. It cuts things very well, and its main purpose is to do a flash cut like this. The great thing about this saw is, it doesn't have a set at all. Because of it, I even use it for detail cuts for joints too. It's perfect. So far, even if you get everything, it's only about $60, and it's good enough. I mean, most of my projects are done by using them. Well, I'm lying. I bought a hardwood detail cut saw in the middle of the last project. As I'm determined to do woodworking as a hobby, I bought the legit detail saw at $40. But this is totally an option for you. I could use the flash trim saw instead. That's all for the saws. Oh, but don't forget to use blade lube at the end of the day you use the saws. I use Oster premium blade lube that I bought for my nose hair cutter. And the reason I ended up having multiple saws was, I realized the better job you do on cutting or trimming by saws, the easier the rest of the work will be. The next is about chisels. People say you should get good quality chisels, but I disagree for the beginners. I used 3 for $10 chisels, and it didn't give me much stress. So rather than discussing which brands to get, let me highlight 3 things. First, it's good to get the set that comes with a 1/4 inch chisel. When you do mortise less than 1/2 inch width, you can't do well with 1/2 inch chisel, so it's better you have 1/4 inch chisel on your hand. I didn't have 1/4 inch chisel up until my last project and I wanted it so much. But then, how did I make a small mortise? Like you see, I use a 1/8 chisel that I bought as an add-on. And this is the second thing I want to talk about. I happened to buy it when making kumiko, and ever since then I like it so much. When I chisel, I usually slice the wood a little by little, or the resistance is too strong to slice. It's narrow, so it can slice wood like an expensive super sharp chisel easily. It helps me especially when doing the mortise. With this 1/8-inch chisel, I usually clean the waste close to the edge, and I do the last few slices with a big chisel for a clean finish. Before going to the last thing, when you want to upgrade your chisels eventually, the cheap chisel set won't be a waste. I will use them when I need to do rough job, like getting rid of big chunks of waste by strong strikes. Anyways, lastly, it's important to get sharpening tools to maintain chisels well. I got the popular one from Japan and it comes with 1000 and 6000 grit. It actually needs experience to sharpen chisels well, and I messed up a lot when I started, so it's good to have a flattening stone too. Well, even if you don't mess up the whetstone like me, the whetstone has to be always flat, so you should get the flattening stone too. With these sharpening tools, I sharpen the chisels before starting a day that I work on a project, and even cheap chisels can easily last a day. And the next is hand plane. I think the most of the beginners have never tried this tool, but a plane is amazing. I only have a small Japanese style plane, but this can do a lot. What can it do? First, a plane will help you to make a dead straight cut. It can also flatten the surface, straighten edges, correcting the cross-cut lines, and chamfering the edges too. If you doubt it, just get the same one as mine. It's cheap, but you can feel so much possibility. Only the thing is, you need to know how to adjust it and how to use it properly, but you're gonna learn those things as you do projects. Okay, from here is miscellaneous, but I do recommend getting it. First, a marking gauge. This was a game changer for me. It's far more accurate to mark lines than just a ruler, especially for joints. In addition, what I use often is a square. I use this tiny one when I check square or mark a line. They are both just like $15, so I strongly recommend getting something similar. And what else? A ruler? You should get one that has fine etched indicators. Don't get one with printed indicators. Oh, and I also want to say if your dad or family has ancient tools, don't hesitate to use them. I used this hammer that was in the garage. It's a great cost saving. Finally, this is the power tool I recommend, which is a drill driver. All I can say is get a legit one. I mean, at least it's brushless, 18 volt and 2 speeds. I use Makita one, but I found one from Bosch that comes with a battery and was about $100. It's expensive, but you can use it not only for woodworking, but for your daily handyman life, so I don't think it's too much. What I use this for is basically cut out holes to reduce the chisel work for mortising, and yeah, for that reason, you should get drill bits for woodworking. It's not something like for metal and wood, but specifically for woodworking. They make a difference in the cutting edges. I, in general, use Forstner bits, but it's just because I bought it before woodworking drill bits. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all I need for most of my projects, other than stuff like sanding papers, oil, glue, stains that you can get as you do a project. And you'll have plenty of them after a few projects. Anyways, if you watched this until now, I want to advise you one more thing. When you get the tool from online, please check the item when it arrives. I mean, the most things are imported items, and knowing how overseas shipping is being handled, there is a higher risk of receiving a defective item. So I usually buy things from Amazon where I can replace the item easily and have them send a replacement item before I even return it. Thank you for watching my video. I usually upload my project videos on this channel and share my finds as well as many mistakes I make. Hopefully, those will help your project. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, or I would be happy if you subscribe to this channel. See you!